evening. Tonight we're going to start off prayer for those that would like to participate, which will be led by Councilwoman Sylvia, and we'll also follow it with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mayor Pro Tem Bench.
If you all would like to participate, you may bow your head. You do not have to bow your heads and still participate. Father God, we thank you this evening for our coming together as City Council and the citizens of Saginaw. Father God, we asking that you would bless us and lead and direct us and guide us, Father God, into the things of righteousness, Father God. Lord, we're asking you that there would be no confusion, Lord, in tonight's meeting, Father God. We loosen peace, Father God, in the name of Jesus. And we'll be so careful to give your name the praise. All the honor and glory is yours in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Sylvia.
Councilwoman Sylvia.
Present.
Councilmember Williams.
Present.
Councilmember Ball.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Bench.
Present.
Councilmember Ostash.
Present.
Councilmember Garcia.
Present.
Councilmember Flores.
Present.
Councilmember Copeland.
Present.
Mayor Moore.
Present.
We have all members present.
I'd like to, I'd like to take this time to welcome everyone and those listening and those watching on TV to tonight's meeting. Just a little housekeeping. Council persons, please silence your phones, as well as your tablets. Audience, I ask that you do the same thing. There'll be no booing, clapping hand, and no obnoxious behavior whatsoever, please. Madam Clerk, do we have any announcements?
Yes, Mayor, we have a few. Tomorrow, July 23rd at 4 p.m. is the deadline to file to be a candidate for City Council or the Saginaw School Board. City Council will have 5 4-year terms and 1 2-year term. The Saginaw School District Board will have 3 6-year terms. These positions will appear on the November 5th ballot. Petition sheets and affidavit of identity forms are available at the City Clerk's office. Next, the Clerk's office will be open Saturday, August 3rd from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. for absentee voting. The Saginaw County Early Vote Center, located at 618 Cass, will be open beginning this Saturday, July 27th, for voters that wish to tabulate their ballot ahead of Election Day. The center will be open daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. until August 4th. Wednesday, July 31st, the hours will be 11 to 7. Tuesday, August 6th is the state primary election, and polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And lastly, a resolution has been added to the agenda and placed at your council seats for the establishment of an emergency polling location for precincts 12 and 15. Notice was received on July 17th that the new high school, formerly SASA, will not be usable on August 6th due to circumstances surrounding the construction of the parking lot. The temporary location will be at the Anderson Enrichment Center at 120 Ezra Rust. And required signage notifying voters of the change will be placed at the school, and all affected voters will be mailed a notice this week. Media platforms will also be made aware of that change. And that takes you to public input.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, to you.
You gonna read the rules?
Huh?
You read the rules for public input?
Oh, I thought you was gonna do it first, okay. We're getting ready to start it, to our public hearing. You have 3 minutes. Please get all that you need to say within those 3 minutes. You will be called up to the podium by the clerk. Please state your name. Remember, there is no booing, clapping, or obnoxious behavior. Madam Clerk.
Our first speaker is Deborah Huddleston.
Is Deborah in the audience?
All right, on to Alicia Arnaldi.
My name is Alicia Arnaldi. Good evening.
Good evening.
I have lived at 34 Eric James Court over 22 years. On October 1st, 2017, I applied and was told I received a grant for a new roof from the Rehabilitation and Block Grant Division from the City of Saginaw and was grateful. Prior to the new roof placed, I have never had any water leakage or damage to either inside or outside my home from my old roof, chimney, etc. Ernesto Cellier from Absolute Building and Remodeling got the contract, who then subcontracted the job out to Steve Myers from Above Board. March 9, 2018, old roof was removed, new roof placed. During process of old roof removed, water leaking into my house, Russ from Above Board stated would take care of it. Roughly 6.5 months later, water leaking inside my house, same place. At present, 2 more leaks and damage in different locations. Also able to lift up shingles from roof as well as multiple inside rooms damaged. Since new roof placed in 2018 to present day, many occasions I have contacted the City of Saginaw, especially entire inspections department, loan grant officer Iris Burns, Steve Myers from Above Board, Ernesto Cellier from Absolute Roofing, among others, with no resolution. All individuals involved don't want to take accountability or responsibility for their part in this matter and to just admit it comes down to an extremely bad roof job. On my brand new roof, I was told to just caulk everything. On one occasion, Pete from Inspections, raising his voice on the telephone to me, stated, "Yes or no, it's all the city's fault. Yes or no, what do you expect? We gave you a new roof." I replied, partially, and a roof that doesn't leak. I have experienced nothing but severe undue physical, emotional, and mental distress for over 6 years. Lost my faith, belief, and goodness with all involved. Just feel disappointed, defeated, disrespected, and let down. The City of Saginaw, Above Board, and Absolute all failed me. A recent conversation that I had with Ernesto Cellier from Absolute that is extremely concerning, with Ernesto stating, every job that Steve does leaks, so why would Ernesto hire Steve from my house and other people's? I am asking City Council to investigate thoroughly into this matter, hold all individuals liable, making sure they can't continue to do this to anyone else, and complete all home repairs at no cost to me. I have everything documented, and if I can offer any assistance to you in your investigation, please feel free to contact me. Thank you all for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jimmy Carter.
Good evening,
Good evening.
my fellow Americans. I'm back this week again. Hi, Michael. And the clock seems bigger this week than it did last week. So I'll try to ignore the clock. But I contacted the Art Laffer Economic Center in Tennessee about our income tax, and they sent me a book. Taxes have consequences, and I got Art Laffer's signature on it. And he said he'd love to send all of y'all a copy, so you're all entitled to it, and you can have a prized possession like I have. But he wanted to know what my strategy was. And my strategy was to call Art Laffer and tell him what we should do. But he said, read the book and figure it out yourself. They're busy in Missouri. And I'm a native Missourian. I spent my childhood between Southern California and St. Louis, Missouri. So those Missouri hillbillies aren't the sharpest pencils in the cup, so he's got a big job ahead of him. But the income tax, as I've been researching, is 5% of the general fund. So I think we can figure out ways to cover that by getting rid of the income tax. And I think it would be a boom. I know it would be a boom. I guarantee you it will be a boom for all of your commercial, our commercial empty rooms. I mean, my building has 7 empty rooms. I've got 3 that are full, but I can't seem to get past the income tax. And I was in a town where Hollis Holden was the city manager, and I became a part of Rotary, and now I'm a retired Rotarian. I did the presidency. all the good Rotary stuff, and they're a great organization. But I got to sit in with Hollis, and his plan was to take the average of all the single-family homes and increase them, and he did. And we can do the same, because 20,000 is our average. We can do better. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Our next speaker is Lisa Nakonechny. On to Samantha Jones.
Sorry, I'm very short. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having all of us here today, and thank you, City Council members, for all being here today and for all that you do for the City of Saginaw. You all received a letter that I wrote about the process thus far in Workforce Development Fund allocations for ARPA, and for those of you that are auditory learners, I'm going to read it today. Dear members of Saginaw City Council, from watching previous City Council meetings, I understand that there were at least 13 proposals submitted for workforce development ARPA funds. Our organization, I Serve Partnership Network, submitted a proposal through the prescribed portal 3 years ago, but we have not received any communications or updates from the Workforce Development Committee since then. This lack of response seems to be a common experience among other organizations I have spoken with. Despite our attempts to discuss our proposal or resubmit a more refined version, we have not received any feedback or acknowledgement. In 2021, City Council emphasized the importance of submitting proposals through the portal to be considered for funding. However, it has come to my attention from recent City Council meetings that an organization which did not submit through the portal has been asked to submit a proposal retroactively. This occurred without the committee reaching out to any of the organizations that followed the prescribed process. We seek clarification and equitable treatment. We request the same opportunity as the organization that bypassed the portal. We understand there may be some sort of partnership with an organization that went through the portal to enhance their chances of receiving funding. We're not opposed to other organizations receiving the opportunity to make an impact with ARPA funds. All of our organizations are trying to make a positive impact on the City of Saginaw and have their own merits. Our concern lies in being overlooked and sidelined along with other compliant organizations, while an organization that one of the two, so 50% of the Workforce Development Committee members has to recuse himself from votes for. The Workforce Development Committee should engage with all organizations that submitted through the portal. Collaborative efforts could yield better results and a more significant impact for the City of Saginaw. It's been 3 years, and unfortunately, we have not been afforded this opportunity. The process has lacked integrity and respect. And the approach over the past 3 years reflects poorly on the City Council's responsibility to its constituents. We urge the City Council and the Workforce Development Committee to address these issues and foster fair and transparent process that benefits all the organizations, not the organizations, but the people we serve that live here in the City of Saginaw, that work here in the City of Saginaw, and that contribute to the City of Saginaw. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Evelyn McGovern.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Citizens of Saginaw. Again, my name's Evelyn McGovern. I'm the president of Women of Colors and also the co-founder. And I wanted to give you an update of Women of Color's new headquarters located at 3057 Davenport. Women of Colors officially moved into our new location on July 1st. Since moving, we have made some improvements. That includes cutting down a large pine tree in front of the building that was causing problems to the roof, trimmed overgrown trees and bushes around the building, repairing fencing in the parking lot that was falling down, painted areas upstairs and downstairs, waterproof some areas in the basement. However, our biggest problem is replacing the roof as soon as possible, which is covered in over 40 tons of P-rock. We were unaware that replacing the roof would be so costly. Currently, the roof is leaking in our conference room and in our basement. The insurance company will not cover any damage caused by the roof. We are grateful for the support that council has given us thus far. However, we are once again requesting your help to secure capital funds for roof replacement. We've received 4 quotes, and we have narrowed it down to 2. One in the city that quoted us $62,000. One in Freeland that quoted us $58,000. We would prefer the city quote because it's within the city. We want to invite Councilman Flores, Councilman Oshtash, and Councilwoman Lamar Syria to revisit our office to see the improvements, along with the rest of council and the city manager. We also are planning an open house ribbon cutting on October 3rd. So with that said, thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Our next speaker is Bishop Hurley Coleman Jr. Sir, you're Hurley?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
I've been Hurley my whole life.
That was totally my fault.
Madam Mayor, City Council, City Manager, and attending city officials, I'm Hurley J. Coleman Jr., Bishop and Pastor and CEO of the World Outreach Campus of Greater Coleman Temple Ministries. I serve as the principal signatory for our 501c3 Saginaw Faith Collaborative. I came tonight to speak to an item that will appear later on tonight's agenda, the contract between the City of Saginaw and World Outreach Campus as we serve as fiduciary for the YEARN program, Youth Employment and Recreation Network. I appreciated the notice that it was going to be on tonight's agenda because there have been times when it's been on the agenda and I haven't been made aware of it. I'm the principal signatory of this contract, and I'm not even aware of all the terms that will be presented to you tonight, except that there could be a recommendation to discontinue. It may surprise you that I'm not here to protest that recommendation. A recent report from the consultant suggested that there was a concern about the viability of the program. I sat there knowing that that consultant had never had a conversation with me, the principal signatory of this project. Again, I do not disagree that the program as originally proposed is no longer viable. A number of issues have surfaced in the program, not the least of which is an internal implosion of structured relationships between the program partners. There have been hours of discussion at this table with some inaccurate statements and assertions that have created an unjustified negative perception of the fiduciary. Not one time has there been a request for us to publicly respond. It's impossible to respond to hours of assertion in just a few minutes. We've been in a monitoring process for a whole year, and that's resulted in hundreds of hours on the part of our staff. I'm gonna run out of time. We responded to a fluid landscape of inquiries. The question of ineligible expenses has been the primary focus. I wrote the concept for YEARN, and a team of talented individuals wrote the grant directly to the specifications outlined in the ARPA rules. The final Treasury rules give the city broad discretion in awarding grants to respond to negative impacts. The Treasury rules specifically state that the city has discretion on awarding for both enumerated and unenumerated uses in the grant. Our close evaluation of those Treasury rules identified the fact that we don't have any mismanagement on the part of the fiduciary. There are discrepancies with accounting and processes, and the predominant number of those issues are with the YEARN partners, not WOC. I look forward to concluding this monitoring effort and coming to an equitable junction with the city. My chagrin is that the program was a valuable program. 70 young people should not have had to suffer for what happened. And that's why programs are being started over and over again, because there's 3 generations of young people in this community who have lived without the benefit of an organized municipal recreation program.
Motion to expend the speaker's time by 45 seconds.
Second.
It's been moved to second.
It's against the rules.
What?
It's against the rules. You can't extend time.
Been told we can't extend time.
We voted to change the rules, so we cannot extend time.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
All those in favor, any questions, any more comments or concerns? Yes.
Check with the attorney, make sure we're good.
Okay, there's a motion to suspend the rules, so
It's a
That's the
motion to
motion before you.
suspend the rules. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Have to figure out how to set this for 45
We
seconds.
can't see
I
it.
think we need to vote on the motion too.
We have to vote to, even though he suspended the rules, I assume that was part of the motion, to suspend the rules to allow for 45 seconds.
I
Is that
didn't,
your intention?
we didn't hear you.
Was it your intention to suspend the rules to allow for 45 seconds more time? If not, we need another motion.
The original motion was to give 45 seconds. That's not allowed. Now I'm suspending the rules to give the speaker the allotted time that he needs to speak.
That's not what your motion was.
No, you have to,
When you suspend the rules,
45
there's no
seconds.
time limit. So
you need to make another motion. Councilmember.
it's for what?
You just suspended the rules open-endedly without.
A time frame.
I was tying it to your 45-second motion, but if it's not tied to that, then you just made a motion to suspend the rules for what purpose? You didn't state it, is what I'm saying.
Okay. To allow the speaker to continue
Just
his,
make another motion.
yep, motion to allow the speaker to continue his oratory.
Second.
Been moved to second, any discussion? Know that if we start this now, we're gonna be right back where we was before.
Right.
With extended time, extended time, extended time.
How much more
Yes,
does
sir.
he have?
The only reason why I will say that this has been an ongoing, year-long process that we've been waiting on information from this entity.
That's right.
And that's the only reason why I am voting yes on this, because I do believe it is fair to finally hear from this organization who we have had questions about this $400,000.
Same here.
That's fine. That's fine, I'm just saying, remember,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? Yes.
We also have 3 other speakers on the list tonight. I'm just wondering if we're going to indefinitely, allow them to speak as well.
Okay,
How much
we
longer
gonna
does
stick
he
with
have?
this motion that we got on the table.
Thank you.
We not finna go to Mississippi tonight. Gonna stay in Saginaw, okay? So there's a motion on the floor to suspend the rules, to give the individual,
We voted on suspend. It's the motion to extend his time by 45 seconds.
Well, I think the motion he restated was without a time period.
The motion is not 45 seconds. It's to allow him to finish his oratory
Without a time.
without a time limit. Correct.
Everybody understand the motion then?
How much longer does he have? I mean,
I'm a preacher.
In that case, 45 seconds is perfect.
so that's why you don't. So that's why it would be good to put a time,
He might start singing.
that's why it would be good to put a timeline on it, okay, because we
like to make it
don't, he is exactly right, he is a pastor, he's a bishop,
But I am a seasoned preacher,
right, a season,
and
which
I
will
know how
go.
to use the
Madam Mayor.
time well.
I'd like to make that motion to 1 minute. I think you get it done.
So we're overriding,
That would be an amendment.
we make it amendment, Mike. Mike. Just a minute.
Make a motion to amend it to 1 minute.
They've been dealing with this for 4 hours in the meeting. I haven't
Yeah, I
got
know.
anything to say.
Yeah, we talk about it for 4 hours and then give him a minute to speak.
It's a motion on the floor to extend the speaker 1 minute. It's been moved to second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
So you go back to your main. Is that
The
just
main
for the
meeting.
amendment? Yeah. So the motion is the
Yeah, I'm
main
not gonna
amendment to
get it right.
extend, including or the motion to extend, including the amendment to add that it's a 1-minute time limit.
Okay, did everybody hear that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we're not gonna do that one again. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk?
I don't have a
Yes,
1-minute
sir.
option. Hold on 1 second. Ready?
I've been ready for a while.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
This council has spent 4 hours talking about this project, and not one time have you reached out to this group for us to respond to inaccurate and inappropriate statements that were made. There's a lot into this program. We stand here today saying that my 25 years of professional municipal management tells me that we've reached the point where we need to come to a conclusion with this, because the program as it is today is not what it was. You need to know that the group that I was a part of forming decided that they wanted to dismiss me from the group and then fire us as a fiduciary. And as a result of that, we're standing here saying, let's conclude this, because the program that we started out with is not the program that we have now. We have operated in excellent integrity. We responded to everything that's there. There is not one matter of mismail or nonfeasance that we are guilty of. And so I'm ready to work with the manager and staff to complete this project. Hopefully, we'll have enough time to finish it, even if we had been used and abused in public without us having an opportunity to redress. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Tara Riley Watson.
Good evening, council. Good evening, fellow residents of Saginaw. I am before you again on behalf of the Yes Young Entrepreneur Society proposal. And in the beginning, when the ARPA whole thing all came out, I was just moving back to the city. So I quickly hurried and typed something just to get in the portal. So originally, we are in there. But I went back, sat down, and did some real deal figures and planning, and came back with a humble request of $60,000. So I'm here tonight to let you know that Yes is operative in a soft format. Our young people have partnered with the YMCA, and they have learned the art of auto detailing. They have done several car washes that have earned them quite a bit of money, enough to send them to Cedar Point at no expense to them or their families. This week, they'll be venturing into the culinary portion of our soft open, and we'll be going to the Ark Encounter in Kentucky next week. And this, again, is no cost of hotel, travel, food, anything to these young people. Hearing a program for youth falling apart because of big dollars only makes me want to ask you all the more to let me get these $60,000 to go find them 70 kids that got dropped out the program and put them back in some programming, because I stand here as a result of excellent programming in the city. I stand here as a result of excellent programming in our churches. I stand here as a result of adults who operated in excellence with pure compassion and concern for children. It was not about grants to profit them based on the children's name. So $60,000 versed against the dollars that I've heard going around in the room to allow these children some opportunities that they otherwise would not have, I don't think it's much to ask. So I ask again that you revisit our proposal, and I appreciate the communication asking for more detail, and I pray that it was enough. If not, please contact me so that I can give you a layout, show it to you. You see the people here, branding was our first step. All our kids rocking word wear when they're out washing cars. When is the next car wash? This Saturday at the YMCA. Y'all come support my babies and get your car washed. Again, council, please revisit our proposal, and $60,000 is a kick in the bucket, and you'll appreciate that you gave it to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Debbie Melconian.
I'm Debbie Milconian. I live at 2116 Adams Boulevard. I'm president of the Adams Boulevard Neighborhood Association, and I am speaking for myself this evening. Back in 2012, that's quite a while ago, it was presented to you the crime-free lease addendum. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that, but it was a document that was sort of approved by council, and it was supposed to be implemented in the city. Currently, Saginaw Township is using it, and there are cities down in the Detroit area as well that are using it. It's a collaborative between the Saginaw Police Department's Community Policing Unit and the Saginaw Landlord Association to reduce crime and enhance the quality of life in the city of Saginaw. It was designed to be used by the landlords when their potential renter signs their lease agreement. That document was supposed to be presented and have the potential renter sign it. It includes various things that if they violate 3 times, if the police are called, they could be evicted from the house that they are in. Such things as drugs, prostitution, nuisance, and if the police were called to that home 3 times. Currently, I don't think anyone in the clerk's office even is aware of it, and they're not. And I don't think it's being enforced. So I ask all of you who are not familiar with it, I have copies of it, and I can talk to you about it, and we can revisit it, and hopefully we can implement it again for our people that are going to be renting properties. It's a very important document. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oops.
Our next speaker is Craig Tatum.
City Manager, members of City Council. As I said in City Council meeting 2 weeks ago, I saw some actions, heard some things that puzzled me. 3 years ago, when ARPA funding became available, interested organizations had to apply and be entered into a portal or a process for consideration. The portal was then closed, cutting off any opportunity for individuals to apply for consideration for ARPA funding. And yet, as we speak now, I have questions. How is it that an organization or organizations who did not apply nor go through the process is now being considered for a substantial amount of ARPA funding? Better yet, how is it that an organization who did not go through the process or who went through the process but failed, according to your words in a meeting 2 weeks ago, can now be connected to another individual and considered for ARPA funding? Even still, how is it that the City Council can approve such a deal when there are countless grassroots organizations that went through the process and for some reason have not received consideration or funding? It appears hypocritical. It appears discriminatory. And taxpayers are watching and talking about this in our community. I'm not against any organization who has a program that will enhance our community. So I want that to be clear. However, I'm concerned about the process that appears to be an unfair process. As one City Council member stated in that meeting, we don't want to appear to backdoor anyone when there are other organizations that did not get a fair chance who went through the portal to receive funding. And so I'm asking members of City Council and City Manager to make available as soon as possible a preliminary report that outlines for the taxpayers of this community, number one, who all applied and met the deadline. Number two, of those who met the deadline, who actually got funded and who didn't. Number three, who has received funding that did not go through the process. To me, it's all about fairness. And taxpayers in this community are entitled to know how this money is being spent, since the funding is meant for the community and not just for projects that appear to appease a select few. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Betty Holmes.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members, City Manager, and all the citizens of Saginaw. I am here on behalf of the YERN employees. Just as example, we were just here a couple of weeks, and we still have our students waiting to go to work. I'm from a family of 14. 14 is significant. I guess I started my first job at the age of 14. And I was excited. And everybody from that downline, when they got their first job, it was excitement for everybody to start working. So when you start working at the age of 14, after that 14, every year you are expected to work. You are expected to do something. So I am just here to say, I was riding with 4 of our YERN students. We rode past some students in their uniforms out working, and it was almost like a kid being punished because you are out, you might have done something wrong, so you can't go outside to play. So these kids are walking and riding, seeing other kids working, and they feel like they are being punished and don't know why they're being punished, why they're not working. So I'm just here because our students are still texting us, still calling us to find out when we are going to start them back to working, and we have no answers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Bishop Larry Campbell.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Mayor, City Manager, City Councilman. I'm Bishop Larry Campbell, the pastor of New Birth Missionary Baptist Cathedral. And I'm here also concerned about the YERN program. We were here 2 weeks ago asking the City Council to recommend that our program be refunded and to move forward. Again, I have countless numbers of youth that want to go to work, that are calling and pleading to see when are we going to be able to start these kids back to work. So I'm just concerned tonight, and I'm here, just like the rest of us here, to ask the council to consider us to move forward with the YERN program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Inez Williams.
Ms. Williams, don't you need that walker?
I think I'll make it. To our Mayor Brenda Moore, City Council members, Saginaw City Manager, and those of you who are here today. In our last communication regarding the Youth Employment and Recreation Network, it was indicated that we would hear something regarding the investigation or the overview or the monitoring that took place with World Outreach. Has the monitoring been completed? If so, when can the UN board members anticipating receiving information about our future actions? It is not what is the reason for the delay. We want to move forward. Each partner is engaged in their own organization. I stand here as the chairperson of the Youth Employment and Recreation Network. Also, the CEO of STRIVE, Substance Abuse Prevention Organization. I'm not new to working with organizations with fiduciaries. have always amplified and worked with a spirit of excellence. Whether I work with this person or that person, that's who I am, and it doesn't change. The group has moved forward. Yes, we did let our current fiduciary go. We did that. We were not giving an opportunity to share with this group or the city manager. I emailed numerous of times and asked questions. When are you guys going to be meeting with us? I heard a wise person say there's always two sides to a story, but let's get to the truth. Give everybody an opportunity to speak on behalf of what's being said and what has happened in our community. Children are the most precious resource that we have. It is our responsibility as concerned citizens of this community to make sure that they're giving a head start in life, given the opportunity to work, given the opportunity to help make a change. We continue to collaborate with Mexican American Council, and we appreciate each one who have supported us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Matthew Karpus.
Matthew Karpus, Saginaw Police Command Association. I watched the last council meeting and observed several council members discussing limitations of what the city council can do. Many people come to this council with issues and end up being referred to animal control, school board, some other entity. I can relate. As a police officer, we get called to different types of things, and we want to help, but sometimes it's out of our ability. Sometimes the best thing we can do is help to point someone in the direction of who can help them. I came here 16 years ago with a promise of certain benefits. Those benefits were deceitfully changed by someone here at City Hall. Maybe what was done was legal, but it was wrong. A fair question now would be, why am I coming before this council, and what would I like to see be done? Imagine that 9 people got together and decided to invest in a business. These 9 people, all with good intentions, taking a seat at the table, hoping to make the best of their investments, but maybe none of them know the ins and outs of the business. A decision was made to hire someone with a little more knowledge on the day-to-day operations, say a manager. Eventually, assistant managers are hired along with the employees at the bottom. At some point during this business's operation, some low-level employees are affected by an unethical decision that saves the business some money. No one seems to know who made the decision, but it's not being fixed by the assistant managers or the main manager. So the employees bring their concern to the 9 owners. The owners have been happy with the manager who thus far has done a seemingly good job and made them a profit. That's his job. But now the 9 owners have a choice. They can tell the manager this isn't how they want to run their business, or they can do nothing and continue to profit. I think the analogy here is clear. If a citizen came to me in my job and told me that an officer that I supervise stole something from them, what would this council like me to do? Should I blame the victim, tell the victim they should have been more careful with their belongings? Maybe the victim waited a week to come in and make the complaint on the officer. Should I tell the victim they're out of luck because they're past the statute of limitations? They should have came in within the first 5 days. Now they're 2 days late and there's nothing we can do. I know what I would do in that situation. Recently, I, along with all the officers at our department, had ethics training. This city, rightfully so, demands its police officers and all of its employees to be ethical and do what's right. If employees are being told to be ethical, but those telling us this are not practicing what they preach, they are being hypocrites. There's nothing worse. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Salim Manan.
Good evening, City Council members, City Manager. Thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity to come. I'm so grateful. First of all, I have a priority. Of course, I'm Salim Manan, and I live at 1514 Milton Street, Saginaw, and been there for a long time. And some of the people here are my neighbors on the council. I'm also here with a great friend, Gary Dawkins, who's a member of Houghton Jones, and that's who we're representing today. And he's a past president. He lives there, and he's been there for a long time. You should know him. One of the things of leadership I will tell you is that leaders will recognize humble people doing great things. That's a major part of leadership. These people at Houghton Jones are very humble. It was hard for me to get them to even submit for you guys to help them. They didn't think that they were worthy. I could have went and did a lot of other things, but I work with them because I saw them doing great works in a community where it was desolate. Prostitution and drugs was taking over. Schools were closed, nothing was there. But these people were working in that area trying to do something, and they were fostering a sense of community. And you know, that's simply what we're gonna need to be successful, is that you have to have a sense of community. Don't cry out just for you, but cry out for the community. And that's what they did. Now, we came to you and we asked you for your help, and I wanna make sure I let you understand, my first priority is to thank you. To thank you. And I know we have your goodwill. You really want us to succeed. I know that. I've been with you. I spend time with you. You talk to me. I know you care about what we do. And I want to thank you for what you've done and allowing us to get the money that we have. And brother, you set us on a course to go somewhere and to do some things to service the people in our community. That's what we've been about. And we're moving ahead. We've made a lot of changes with the money you have. We work with that corporation that you brought in, and they want to use us as an example of what we've been able to do. The only problem that we've had is with a contractor. And you know who that contractor is. Terrible what he did, what he done to us. And we still struggle with him. But other than that, we've done well. One of the other things that I will share with you is that we put in for this money and we ended up losing other money that we were getting because we got this money. And I didn't want that to happen. So I'm here today to ask you to consider sitting with us, looking at our programs, coming to visit with us, and see if there's some additional assistance that you might be able to give us and help us to do what we're doing over there in that area. We've made a lot of progress, and we want you to see it. We want you to come. We want you to meet the people there and see what we've done. This weekend, we cleaned up 2 lots. Children, all of us, him, he led that movement. I was there with him. We cut down trees. We did all of that. So come and see us. Come and see the work you've done for us. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
And keep up the good work, and I appreciate your contributions.
Our final speaker is Tina Swanton.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me this time to speak with you this evening. My name's Tina Swanton. I'm with the Saginaw Community Food Club and Kitchen. I would first like to say thank you for your ongoing support in this project. Many of you have checked in with me asking the status of the project or how you may help. So I would like to give you a brief overview of the project and how we can move forward together tonight. I've provided each of you with a letter with more details around programming and funding on the project. So I'm just going to make this short and sweet since a lot of the information is right in front of you. As you continue to discuss and decide where the remainder of the ARPA funding will be allocated in the next 5 months, I would like you to consider these items. You have a focus on food security, youth development, and workforce development. So do we. You have 5 months to select an organization. We have already been vetted with the city staff and Guidehouse. Many of you are interested in leaning toward a construction project over programming. We are only interested in funding for construction. You need an organization who applied through the portal to make this fair. Check. Some of council is interested in programming for those coming out of jail. We will be offering a program to provide work development skills for those coming out of incarceration or rehab facilities. Attached, you will find a current status in fundraising. You're gonna find that our final gap is about $500,000. We have currently selected a new site due to help with the city at 310 Meredith Street, where soil testing is currently taking place. Due to some of the delays, including the change in the site location, our new timeline plan to be operational is to be in the first half of 2026, where the original plan was fall of '25. As a project, you have already shown support in making a success. In the short time frame that you have left with the funds, I think we can help each other. The food club still has a gap in funding, and you have those funds to make this happen. Please consider allocating some of the remaining ARPA funds to the food club to make this project a reality in its full capacity. Thank you.
Mayor, that takes us to remarks of council.
And tonight, we will begin with Councilman Copeland. You have 3 minutes and no extension.
Good evening, City of Saginaw. I want to say thank you to the speakers that have shared this evening. I guess I feel the weight, and I think one of the weights that I feel tonight is hearing these stories and hearing what's going on. And tonight, I wanted to be very clear when it comes down to some of the decisions that I've heard this evening. And we've heard about the youth. The children didn't do this. Adults did. And if we are to start telling the truth begins with telling what we did as adults. Not the children, because the children are in need. We have seen and we have heard. But I've also heard in the community and the misinformation. And that information has to be cleared because it is not the children. It is easy. We all, as council, have a play and a part to play. But it is adults that have made these decisions. And tonight, Mr. Manan asked me when I was about to go in the back, what is one of the things that I've learned since I have really been on council? And that is to continue to live a principled life. And it is not going to be easy. It is hard for me sometimes. But to live a principled life, I have to stand on the truth. And because of respect, no, I will not always say what's going on behind closed doors because I value relationships. I respect. I was taught to respect leadership in all things. But when my vote comes out, it is a principled vote. It is not emotion. It's principle. Because as a council member, I'm accountable to the citizens of this community. What is my responsibility as a council member? Ordinances, resolutions, and making sure that our city is in a financial state. And I will not open up our community to any type of lawsuits. So hearing the conversations about inequity, that sits with me. Those are the things that I have sat with as a council member. So I want to say thank you to our community members who have come and shared this evening. Because I hear you, and I hope you hear me. That my life is a principled life. And I respect the work that I do and the work that we all do in this great community. And that at the end of this ARPA, whatever's been torn and broken, whatever, that there will be a state of unity and peace that we as adults can live in. Not our children. It's the adults that need to walk this out. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilwoman Sylvia.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to say good evening. Thank you all for coming to your city council meeting this evening. I'd like to say, first of all, I'd like to say condolences, please, to the family of one of our young men from New Alternative, Terry Turner, who lost his life saving his daughter's life at Michigan Adventure. He's a hero, but he's passed on. So I'd like to send out condolences, and I'd like you all to think and maybe whisper a prayer for his family, please. I have a few things to say. Some of the things I have to say will come up later if you decide to stay for the duration of city council. But on several occasions, I tried to make the collaborative effort to meet with fiduciary and the Yearn program. It has nothing to do with them. I've asked our city manager on several occasions to make that happen because you can have something over here, over here, over here, and over here. And it's nothing like bringing everybody to the table at one time. And I'm still gonna ask that, to make that happen. It could be something so small of miscommunication that can tear a whole entity, where you see that, can tear the whole thing up. And when you bring everybody to the table, you can say, oh, well, I thought that was blue. That was purple. In a story. And it can be just that simple. And I'm looking for that to happen. I do care what was said, but I don't care to the point that it means a lot, because I want to bring everyone together, everyone that is involved in regards to that particular program. A lot going on. In regards to our officer, I've met with the attorneys. Hopefully, the things that I learned in that meeting should satisfy and should be able to change some things. That's what I was told in the meeting. So hopefully, some things can be changed. Because I spoke with them in depth. So, and again, you got one person over here and somebody over here, you're hearing different things. I know what I heard and I know what I was told. Thank you very much. You all have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilman Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. Before I say anything else, I want to put out that there will be a Minority Women in Government brunch August 3rd, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Buena Vista Community Center. So I encourage women to come out and possibly learn and share. With that being said and out the way, thank you to everyone who came out and spoke tonight. There was a lot said, a lot that needed to be said, and Councilman Copeland, if I would have went first, I got a feeling it'd be the same thing, because I totally agree with everything that you said and stated. I want to encourage any adults working with any youth in a YEARN program. If the youth have questions, I hope that it is not being put back on the youth, that it's council that's preventing, the progression of the program, because it's not. And if they have any questions, I'm more than happy to sit down with anyone and give them this perspective. Not anything that's going on within your program, but this perspective and what we do and how we have been involved. It's disappointing to hear that children are discouraged or upset, but as Councilman Copeland said, the accountability lies on the adults. Flat out, period, bottom line. There's no way to get around that. No way to get around that. So I hope that you all are able to resolve, but I will say, for me, as of right now, unless something else can be explained, there's no way in the world that I would vote yes to release any other funding. I believe in being transparent. And that's because of what has already transpired. And it breaks my heart to hear the things, but again, this is business, as I state often. This is business. Pastor Tatum, thank you so much for coming out and speaking. It's encouraging, especially because this is, November's my last time. This is it. So, but it's encouraging to know that people are watching and paying attention. Ms. Jones, as well, coming out and speaking to what you are seeing and hearing from this table. That has to happen. It needs to happen. It needs to happen in every meeting. Whether it be about ARPA funds or anything else on the agenda, we need to hear from the city. That is the way you all keep us in check, because that's what you're supposed to do. And when I'm out off of council, that's what I'll be doing as well. So thank you all.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilman Ball.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to thank the citizens for coming out, expressing your views on how you want to help the city out. I noticed that out of the 16 people that came here, we had 15 people that spoke. 7 people don't live in the city. We appreciate you coming to the city of Saginaw to try to help out our kids. We really do appreciate that. As I think about the city of Saginaw and some of the things that we have experienced lately, we had 4 plant closings in the city of Saginaw. Delphi next year, Saginaw steering gear, whatever you want to call it. They used to have 10,000 employees in the Buena Vista area. Now they're probably down to 3,000 or 4,000 people. We're losing a lot of tax base here in the city of Saginaw. And you know when we lose tax base, that means we only can do so much with the dollars that we do have. And it's a blessing that these ARPA dollars have came to the city, because when those jobs was gone, that made a lot of people experience less hope because they couldn't go into the plants like they used to. Like when I first got hired in 1975, 76, you can work at 3 different plants in the city of Saginaw. If you didn't work good at this one, they'd let you go to the other plant. You can work at 3 plants. Some guys worked at 2 plants for a while. But all of a sudden, those jobs dried up, the hope dried up. And one thing I found out, when hope dried up, dope comes up. And people have a tendency, when they're not feeling good or not experiencing good things, they have a tendency to want to medicate it. And we all know what the illegal medication that's going on here in the city of Saginaw with alcohol and drugs, and people getting addicted to it. And they're saying, you know, they lost hope. And when you lose hope, sometimes you end up going to jail. You end up going to jail, then I mean there's children that's at home with no fathers at home. And we know what happens when we don't have fathers at home with these children. They end up in prison, juvenile homes, and what have you. And we got a steady cycle that's going on here in the city of Saginaw. But we do have opportunity to try to stop some of this stuff with the ARPA dollars that came in. And we're gonna have to hit these kids at the bottom, and we'll hit the adults at the top, and maybe we can come in and make them whole again. I really do believe that God wants us to do good with these dollars and help out our citizens. So far we have. Being with the buckets that we had to put money in the community centers, because I really believe when the tax dollars died up, the community centers died up because a lot of money went to the community centers. And now we have opportunity, we have put some in there, so there's a lot of hope that's going on now and mentorship going on with community centers. I believe that if community centers live, so will our kids. Because as the community centers died, so did our children. Because I'm telling you, the mentorship that they've been experiencing from the other peers is not conducive for proper society for our children. So we thank God we have these ARPA dollars to do something positive for our community. Thank you.
Next, we have Councilman, thank you. Next, we have Councilman Ostash.
Thanks, Mayor. Welcome, everybody, tonight to the chamber. It's good to see you, and thanks for coming out and sharing your thoughts with the council. Just real quick, just a quick announcement. Sometimes I hear, how can I keep up with the city and what's going on in the city? If you visit our website, go to the homepage, go under community, and then informational resources, you'll find links there to get our newsletters and how to sign up for text messages. Debbie, thanks for coming out and talking tonight about that. If you have that electronically, would you please email that to me? If you don't, leave a copy with the clerk. I'd like to take a look at that. Jimmy, you've come out a couple times now to talk to the council. Thanks. I would love to talk to you about taxes, and Councilman Balls just kind of brought it up again. And looking at our tax base under the general fund, our income tax is 36% of the general fund. And we do have a tax cap, which limits us to how much property taxes we can collect. So that is about 9% of the general fund, or $4.1 million. So the income tax does generate, well, it's over $16 million in the general fund to provide services to the city. I'll gladly give you my phone number. Get a hold of me on the website, send me a message, and I would love to talk to you more about that. Concurring with my colleagues tonight, thank you, Councilman Copeland, for what you had to say. Also, Councilman Williams, for backing that up. And I have been sitting here for weeks trying to put all the pieces together. So Councilwoman Lamar Sylvia, you mentioned about different pieces and fragments and how we are trying to put this together. It's been committees that have been meeting on this. There is a way that the council can conduct business, and we can get everybody in the room. We could have a single subject committee of the whole. So I would like to put that on the table. If that is something that we all would like to do, that is something that we can do. The Saginaw County Commission, the school board, they do such things where business can be conducted and discussed. It's just that no motions or actions are taking place. So I would just like to mention that. I think that would help clear up some confusion, and we all can hear what has been said and try to get, I guess, less confusion, especially for me. Mayor, I'm going to stop. That's all I have to say for tonight.
Okay. right, thank you. Next, we have Councilwoman Garcia.
Good evening, concerned citizens of the community. Thank you for all our speakers, for you guys coming out and just listening to these last couple of weeks. It's always hard decisions. I'm one of the newest ones. This is my second year, and I've learned so much being on council and just the different views. But at the end of the day, I am a social worker, I'm a businesswoman, and with the ARPA funding, it's been a blessing and a curse to some. And it's always hard making these decisions because we always want to make the best choices for the organizations that are receiving these monies that's been doing great years of service in the community. We're seeing you, we're watching you. The portal was something new that I had to learn, and I was wondering how they determined what organizations, when I got on my committee of bucket. And so I'm understanding the process, but at the end of the day, documents show everything, receipts, black and white. That tells, you can say this or that about somebody, but if you don't have the documentation in front of you, that's gonna tell you right there where this money's going. So at the end of the day, we're all held accountable for everybody. The ARPA dollars, what we do here, what we make, one vote, whatever. But, like I said, it's never easy, but it's nice hearing everybody's story, what's kind of going on, but then we see kind of behind the scenes too, of what was presented in front of us that day, where all the money was or where it's going or how much is being spent. So just looking forward to see how it's gonna play out the rest of the ARPA dollars. Would really like to get it out into the community before we lose it, which is December 2024, but I don't see that happening. I mean, we're gonna get it out there. Also, just wanna, positive thing, community news, the Michigan's having this Friday. If you know anybody, you can find it, I'm sure, on the community events. It's this Friday at New Birth Missionary Baptist Church, Friday, July 26th, 11 to 2. It's free and include food, music, games, basketball, and more, so I'm gonna try to make appearance to that. And then Chances, Choices, and Change is August 3rd, and I know he said they'll come and talk about this as well. So if you wanna come out, and I always share a lot of these on my Facebook community events that are going on, especially the food giveaways, since, everything keeps going up in price as well. So, just wanted to let you know about these events, and also Friday is Latin Night. I think they changed the name, but I know it is Latin Night Friday, so I will be down there, of course, being out there, and I know we always have a table as well with different swag and information for you to stop by and say hi. And I know also the Eastside Soup Kitchen, they're always having a van down there every Friday collecting canned goods and stuff, to help there at the Eastside Soup Kitchen. So thank you guys, good night, and have a good day.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilman Flores.
Thank you, Mayor. It's always good to see my neighbor Salim here, always. So when I want to not cut my grass, I think about Salim because he lives right around the corner. I'm like, man, he knows I'm on city council. I got to cut my grass. Same thing with Manager Morales. So you guys keep me on my toes. So I was going through Butler, Pennsylvania on Friday with my son, and he has a new dog. We were going down to Philadelphia for a concert on Saturday, and it was a two-horse town, and all you see are these big billboards that say Trump's coming, and there was actually one that had like sights on Joe Biden, which was weird, but there's one with Jesus and Trump. But anyways, I was like, that's kind of interesting that he's coming to the area. And then lo and behold, when I get to Philadelphia on Saturday, he gets shot, right? And God bless him that he survived and that our whole country is not in chaos and that, you know, the systems of government have worked and that whole thing is crazy. On top of that, you know, to President Joe Biden making his announcement yesterday, that's also huge, right? We're only really talking about ARPA because he passed that bill, right? And sometimes I reflect on that and the importance of, you know, the confidence that Joe Biden had, not only in us here sitting on the dais, but of everybody in the community to be able to participate in that. That's a huge ask and a lot of confidence in a constituency that, you know, things are going to play out the way that they're going to play out, but geez Louise, that was a big deal. So thanks to him, grateful for his service. To Samantha and to Tara, my number is 989-992-3803. Again, 989-992-3803. I'd love to talk with you all. being on the Workforce Development Committee, I think there's some things that are incorrect in your statements, but I think you guys think I'm incorrect too. So let's get together and talk about it. I think the only other thing, reports tomorrow are going to come out on who's going to be on council, who's not. For everybody that is served with, thank you so much for your commitment to the council. I'm going to continue to finish out my responsibilities. It's been really great to work with everybody here. And then last, if anybody has any information on Keyshawn Banks, Quan Lee, Quay Smithers, Mario Bulger, Pamela Whitson, Ryan Clemens, Roy Whitson, Cortez Hampton, Mazzy Bredesen, Jonathan Lamar Van, Ronald Pacheco, DeLance Stevens, T.Z. Thomas, Daquan Mims, Janelle Whittington, Deus Horson, Dennis Christopher, and then Jason Porterfield. Please call 1-800-422-5245. That's Crime Stoppers, 1-800-422-5245, for any information on their murders. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mayor Pro Tem Bench.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening to everyone. I'd like to start by thanking everybody for being here tonight. We do appreciate having the public come out and voice their opinion and express their concerns. I do want to co-sign everything Councilman Copeland and Councilman Williams said about the things that are going on, to Pastor Tatum, Ms. Riley, and Ms. Jones. The things that you said here tonight are absolutely things that I am hearing said to me out in the community. I agree with you, Pastor Tatum. I think if we start looking outside of the portal and go outside of the process that we set for ourselves, even if it was an imperfect process, we owe answers to everybody else who put in genuine proposals or, fully thought out proposals in the portal. And frankly, that's not an expense I wish to incur with Guidehouse. I think it's very important, in these last few months, going into November, going into December, we will have a new council, and we want them to be able to hit the ground running and not be overwhelmed by the poor choices the previous council made. So I hope to spend the next few meetings hammering these things out and making sure that we're giving them a good base to start on. And I would agree with Councilman Ostash. We can do single subject committee of the whole meetings for these things. We can do it on specific proposals that we're reconsidering. We can do this just to consider the remaining dollars. Personally, I would like to see the committees that have been formed done away with so we can continue to have these conversations about these dollars out in public, transparently, where you guys can weigh in and where every council member has the ability to bring ideas forward about the various dollars that are remaining, because we have a lot of groups out there who we're sitting on money and we're not moving it to them, and they could be providing services, changing lives, helping kids. And I think that we need to move those dollars, and I think we need to be very deliberate and very transparent in the way we do that going forward, because there's already such a bad taste in the community's mouth over the way we've conducted ourselves in some instances. And for that, I concur with you guys, and I hope we can do better going forward. And as far as the crime-free lease addendum, I was here when that happened. I do believe that our clerk's office is aware of it. We do have a newer clerk's office, not just our newer clerk, but Christine has been here for many, many years and is well aware of that. I think part of the issue we run into is that there's no crime-free lease addendum in a lease for a landlord that doesn't register as property. And I think there have to be not just phone calls, but there has to be some actionable thing that occurs, so we can't just have a neighbor, penalize another neighbor and try to get them evicted. So if you have specific addresses, please give them to us, and we'll try to deal with the specific addresses. Thank you.
I'm gonna forego. I just want to say this. 2-3 years ago, I said It was a blessing and a curse. I also said, whatever we do, we gotta be transparent. I'm staying true to the game. This is exactly what they wanted to happen. We letting it happen. We falling apart. We falling apart. We've done some good things with the money. I'm gonna tell you, the best thing we done, I don't care what none of y'all say, is when we did them roofs, furnishings, and windows for people. That was the best thing we did. I got people walking up to me every day, telling me, thank God, I ain't got to be cold in the winter no more. Then we turn around and we get to the programming. Oh my God. It just went all outdoors. I'm gonna just leave it with this. It's a new season, y'all, and it is a new day. Fresh anointing has come our way. There's other things getting ready to happen in this city within the next year, probably shorter than that. And we gotta be ready. So for all of us who we got to bury the hatchet. I said my first year as mayor, what the world needs now is love, sweet love. I ain't changing that one. The Bible says, do I love? You got to love your brother. How can you love me and not love your brother? Pastors, I can't quote like y'all do. I'm not that good. However, I believe that everything that's happening right now is happening for a reason. State, federal, and local. We got an election coming up. And it's gonna affect us in more ways than one, y'all. So while we sitting here bickering about petty stuff, we need to be talking about how we gonna feed some of these kids and these families. Because we don't know what's gonna happen. So instead of us fighting with one another, I love all y'all. I didn't visit no programs that were set up, and I didn't visit for a reason. Because I didn't want to feel obligated. Because I'm one of them ones that'll give you the shirt off my back. So no, I didn't visit no programs. And I did that for a reason. Sometimes a leader should just let you lead, not get in your business. So young people, have a good day. Madam Clerk.
That takes us to reports from the manager.
Mr. Manager, just 1 minute before we start. Is there anybody that would like to leave? Because he can clear a room in a heartbeat. I told y'all he can empty out the room. Ms. McConaughey, it's good to see you, Ms. Deb. Is that somebody talking? I keep him.
Okay, ready?
You want emptied out the room?
So a few items that I had, and then a couple that came up. I know this is a topic of discussion in neighborhood associations, because I had this about the crime-free lease addendum for Northmore with a couple of the people on the board. Trust me, the staff are aware of the crime-free lease addendum. Chief Ruth utilizes it quite frequently, talking to landlords. It's a tool. It's not something that, if an incident occurs, then the city can move people out. It's a tool for landlords to utilize, and we'll track the calls. We report them back, but the landlords have to take action. So we need that cooperation with them. There's nothing that we can do to reduce eviction rights for tenants. Tenants still have those rights, so it is a tool. It's great for more people to learn about it and educate, so that people aren't afraid to call in the police, but it is something that is simply a tool, and we encourage landlords to utilize it. I will say as well that, when we are working on these ARPA reconciliations for funds and getting documentation, we have to work with the fiduciary. The contract that we have is with the fiduciary, so they're the ones that are making the commitment to ensure that the funds are being expended correctly. So we don't always reach out to every individual who's involved in that. We have that point of contact with our contract. And I think any of the fiduciaries will tell you that's the way that it operates. I will say with World Outreach, they have spent countless hours working with our staff over the last several months, particularly our finance director, Lori Brown, has been working with Bishop Coleman's staff for hours and hours. They have a few more items to clear up, and I know that World Outreach has been trying to meeting with the other members of Year and 2 to help try to clear these up. If that's not accurate, I'm sure I'll find out. But I know that those meetings have happened or have been attempted to be scheduled. So those 2 items I just wanted to comment on that came up. Another that I wanted to make council aware of, because Senator Peters' office did tell us that Senator Peters read a statement into the Senate record for the Henry Marsh Plaza. So that is really cool for him to do. He read the project in, and also there's a great biographical portion for Mayor Marsh that's in the Senate record now. If you want to look that up, it was on Monday, June 17th that happened, so it's on the Senate website. So we thank Senator Peters for doing that. And I know several of you are interested because we talk about jobs a lot, and we did meet with the people from Corning. They're still working on the project. If you drive out there, you'll see all of the earth moving. Right now, I think they have 1,500 tradespeople out there working on the construction. They're still going to be looking for a lot of employees. I reached out to them through Saginaw Future to see if they would still like to have a spot in the city where they can take applications. So I'm happy to host that. With our construction here, maybe it won't be at City Hall, but maybe we can do that at Anderson Center so that there's a central location for people to come in and put an application. They still are looking at aggressive schedule for work to begin producing next year, and they will be hiring probably in excess of 1,000 employees when they ramp up. And the final item I did want, or actually 2 more, please, as Councilman Flores mentioned, we got to make sure we keep our yards up, but we do have a program where we are recognizing homeowners and businesses that help make Saginaw a beautiful place to live. So continue to nominate people on Scenic website. You can nominate homes in your neighborhood who do that and keep everything up and make the neighborhood look great. And Councilwoman Garcia mentioned the Cops and Community Day at this Friday, July 26th, from 11 to 2 at New Birth Missionary Baptist Church. So I want to thank the organizations that are involved in that. It's the Michigan State Police Troopers on Tour and the Saginaw Police Department with cooperation from Buena Vista Police, Saginaw Township Police, Saginaw Valley State University Police, Delta College Police, Saginaw County Sheriff's Office, Frankenmuth Police, Bridgeport Police, and the Saginaw Fire Department. So thanks to everyone for helping out with that event and participating. That concludes the management update.
Any questions for the city manager? Yes.
Thanks, Tim, for the update with Corning and the solar plant that's coming in. When you were talking to them, are they still looking at October hiring? That was did they mention anything about that?
Yeah, I don't have all the details, but
Okay.
I know that they do want to hire prior to their ramp up because they have a training program that they're going to put people through. So I think their tentative schedule would be production next late spring, early summer, and definitely later in the year. So I would guess that's that's probably a similar timeline as we're looking at.
Yeah, I was just kind of wondering about that, because when Mayor Pro Tem and I met with them, that's kind of what they were saying at the meeting that we had with them. And I'm still telling people in the community that, managers talking about these jobs that are coming, it's like 1,100 plus jobs, well-paid, benefits, GED or high school diploma with room to grow. And that was things that we talked about during the meeting. So I keep talking about it. Thank you for the update, because I was going to ask you about it pretty soon, because if October and this wasn't the case, and actually talking about starting the application process in the city so that the residents of the city feel like they've got some skin in this game too. So, thank you.
Councilwoman Sylvia.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, City Manager, for the update. What I'd like to know is, in regards to the contractors that have been hired, and I guess probably vetted through the city of Saginaw, this is not the first time I've heard information in regards to some of the contractors. And I'm really I'm shocked with one where Holton Jones lost money because they had to go back and fix or have fixed something that a contractor have done. So where are we with these complaints, if they've been made to the city? And how is this going to be rectified? That's taking money and just doing what they wanted to. And I've also made a complaint to the city manager's office in regards to another citizen. But this is not the first time I've heard of complaints, and I've heard several in regards to the roofing jobs. So what's going to be done, or what is being done?
So I think those are two different issues.
Okay.
The contractor that was mentioned at Houghton Jones, we don't bet that. That's a project that one of the ARPA recipients, Houghton Jones, put out.
Okay.
We try to help them work through that with the contractor if we can. That, I think that's been resolved for the most part. But yeah, that's something that each of the ARPA recipients they get their own contractor. So you talk about the roof and furnace program. That would be, if there is a complaint about something like that, then they should contact the city staff to make it. And I always encourage them that, rather than, I know several people contact council members, but get them in contact with the city staff so that we can send an inspector out and determine what the issue is, and then get with the contractor, particularly if we can do that before we pay the bill, right? So that we can get them out there as soon as.
You haven't had complaints come through?
I think we've had some, yeah. We've dealt with
okay.
them, yeah.
So what do you do? That's what I'm asking. That was my question. What is the process? What do you do when citizens have complaints in regards to ARPA dollars, any other dollars? And these things, contractors, I mean, you have a time to rectify something that's been messed up. But to continue, and evidently, some of these contractors probably shouldn't be contracted. So what do you do?
And when you're referring to the ARPA program, the roofs, the furnaces, and eventually the windows, when we receive a complaint, we actually have an inspector go out, look at what the issues are to determine what it is. If this is something that is pre-existing, like in the case that you're talking about, the contractor was willing to work with the homeowner to fix the issue because it wasn't a problem with the roof. If it is a problem with the roof, we will go ahead and take care of it and work with that contractor to make sure that that issue is resolved. So we're trying to work with them no matter what. But first thing, you have to determine what it is, get with the contractor through the inspector to make sure that we understand what the problem is, and then go from there.
All right.
One thing I need to make sure of is like if we've tried to work with them and then they bring up like they're gonna do legal counsel, then we're not able to talk to them and we'll turn them over to our legal counsel.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? I just have a statement. Mr. Manager, I guess at this point, I'm going to request that we try to set up something as soon as possible, as soon as Dow Corning gives us the go-ahead. Let's do something at Anderson. Let's open up Anderson and do, so that everybody can come. And maybe we can get with Stars and even get them some bus rides if they need a ride.
Yeah, I know they
Need to work
reached
on that,
out to
and we need
Stars.
to get that.
I'll reach out to them and remind them that we're interested in that. It wasn't too long ago, but they're still doing their HR process and what they're gonna pay and what the jobs are gonna be. So I don't know if they're ready to do that yet, but yeah, I'll keep reminding them, don't worry.
Okay, yes, sir.
Mr. Manager, thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Manager, I do want to just make sure, one of our public speakers, Pastor Tatum, had some things listed. I didn't catch all of them. Could we just make sure that someone from city staff got them? Because I just want to see if we were able to follow up and that get to us. I think we've already received something like it, but I just want to make sure before I have conversations.
Yes, we'll follow up on that.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Any other questions? Hearing none. Madam Clerk?
Mayor, that takes us to the consent agenda.
The agenda has been available at City Hall and on city webpage on SGTV Channel 191. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda, leaving room for exceptions.
So moved.
Second.
Do I have any exceptions?
Number 3.
Yes, Councilwoman.
2 and 4.
Who?
2 and 4.
Anybody else? Okay. There's a motion on the floor to approve the agendas, leaving room for exceptions, 2, 3, and 4. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk?
Item number 2 is to approve to amend the agreement with Guidehouse Incorporated by $351,000 for a new total not to exceed $1,201,000 for consulting services related to funds received under the American Rescue Plan Act grant. That was Councilmember Sylvia.
Thank you so much. Just a really quick question. Where is these extra dollars coming from for Guidehouse?
So I don't think it's specified in there. I would recommend taking it from the interest.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
There needs to be a motion there.
There has to
Oh,
be
I'm
Second.
sorry.
Who made the motion?
Oh,
I thought he had, hold on. I thought that Councilman Flores had a question.
no, we have to do discussion after the motion. So motion to accept number 2.
Second.
Agenda item.
It's been moved in second. Discussion.
Thank you, Mayor. The last update that we had from Guidehouse expenditures was from, that I have in my records, is from April. Was there one that was given to council since April? Do you know?
I don't think we've had an updated one sent out yet.
Didn't we just get something a couple of days ago or something that told us where we were, how much we would have left, and a projected rate?
I think that was the
I'll do
total.
better than that.
Yeah, we listed it in the council communication.
Thought we did.
We've spent 792 of the 850,000 purchase orders so far.
Right, because there was a breakout on what it was spent and how it was spent. So everybody should have got that in their email.
So with this amount, is it just by quarter then? Is it looking at, so the trends that I see back in April, hold on one sec. Are we looking at another quarter's worth of expenditures, or is this timed in any way?
That was through June 30th,
25.
what we reported, the 792,000. Was
Yep.
through June.
No, I, for the amount that we're going to be giving them, is there another extended timeline on the contract?
That's an estimate through calendar year 2025, and it's based on the level of service, and it's estimated at 350,000.
For the rest of 2025? So in April 10th, we were still $181,804 remaining in their contract. That's a little bit less than half of what we're asking for here. So we're asking for 351,000?
Well, there was a delay in their billing back in April, so they caught up through the end of the year, which put us at the 792,000.
And that could have been like a billing through March that we reported to you in April, so.
Like a quarter.
Yeah, it could have, yeah.
So this is sufficient to,
Yeah, I think the point is that the first 2 quarters of this year aren't really an accurate reflection of what's anticipated. That was more expenses because there was a lot more work in the first 2 quarters. So the additional amount is what we asked them, to give us an estimate on the number of hours and expenses for monitoring through the end of 2025. They didn't give for 2026 because hopefully all the dollars will be spent by then or close to it. So that's, I think.
Right, and I think it depends too on the remaining allocations. They can't really predict how you're gonna spend that money or what additional work they'll need to do on top of the 20 subrecipients that they're monitoring right now.
but given the amounts that they had to concentrate on in the last 3 years, it's all been pretty financial. What was the 87 to 91% of what they're spending their amounts on?
Was on monitoring,
Financial monitoring,
yes.
and that just increased about 5 or 6% this upcoming year. Although we've gone more towards capital, so is there a reason why it's increased if we've deferred more to capital than?
You still have 20 subrecipients that you're monitoring, and so they're submitting budgets, they're creating risk assessment, monitoring plans, they're doing sampling of their expenditures, they're approving advances, they're doing daily work for the city, which, to oversee the subrecipients.
And that's always been expected.
To what level, I think it's a greater level than I think what we originally expected.
All right, thank you.
Yes, Councilman Copeland.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I think do we foresee with one of the motions that we have currently on the agenda, where I'm looking at the percentage of financial monitoring, do we see that due to the city rectifying a lot of these things and the back and forth and conversations, would we see that financial monitoring decrease in any way due to some of the changes? But because I think I'll answer my own question, if we allocate additional programming dollars, we will see a continuous increase.
Yeah.
But capital expenditures do not have as much monitoring because that is an easier purchase, submit.
Right, they're not sampling their expenses and approving advancements continuously.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
Any other questions?
And to clarify, I want to know, is it possible to amend, before I make the motion, to amend the motion to specifically say where we have related to funds received from, could I put interest funds received? If I were to amend the motion to put interest funds, that it would just publicly say it's coming out of our interest fund?
Of course you can.
I don't want to, okay, so I would like to make a motion to amend the main motion to add related to insert interest funds received under the American Rescue Plan grant.
Second.
It's been moved to second. Any more discussion? Okay, so we can vote for this one.
You didn't finish your vote on the amendment yet. You gotta do your vote.
I know, they didn't let me.
And then go back to your main.
Okay, let's do this amendment.
Yes, ma'am.
It's been moved to second. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Now, let's go back to the original motion. which was item 2, right?
Do you want me to read it?
Which was item 2. It's been moved in second. Councilwoman Sylvia, did your questions get answered?
Yes.
Okay. It's been moved in second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk.
Item number 3 is to approve to grant the city manager the authority to execute the subdivision and special district settlement participation forms and any and all other documents related to the proposed partial settlement of the national opioid litigation with Kroger. That was Councilmember Balls.
Thank you. We received, so far, we received $353,798 from the opioid litigation settlements that we had already received so far. And the money had been spent on harm reduction vending machine, public safety, first responders, training to overdose situations, and narcotic analyzer machines. That's fine and dandy. You know, we're gonna attend to the problem after they done had a overdose or something like that. I would like to see some of this money going to treatment centers to treat people so they don't get involved in drugs in the first place. And I don't want these funds to be like, well, I can't say, I was gonna say like the police, they go to the crime after it happens and then they lock the people up. I wanna see somebody do something beforehand so the people don't go to jail or don't go to drugs. Even though the police do things, like having this thing that happened up this Friday where the police is doing things with the kids and playing games with them and stuff like that. But we don't have nobody trying to keep people off drugs. So my suggestion would be, with the next amount of funds that we get, if the city manager can give that out to some of the treatment centers and counseling centers here in the city of Saginaw, so we can try to nip this in the bud before people start ODing. And I like to put that in a form of a motion.
Well, we're limited on what we can do with these funds. So we are working with the Saginaw County Health Department. I can't remember if you're still on that team, Lori. So Lori's on that team, and they would be looking at treatment type procedures through the health department or partners in that way, whether it's community health or whatever it is. I'm not sure where they are with that, but we can bring back a update to council from that group if that's something that you're interested in.
Well, that'd be fine. So in other words, what you're saying is, the last funds we spent it, we didn't spend none of the money on trying to help people out before they get addicted. But this time we are.
We can, and that's always part of the long-term plan. We're also doing training with some of the public safety to go into the schools to do not treatment, but outreach for youth for drug prevention.
What I'm just saying, it said public safety first responders training to overdose situations. I don't hear nobody saying nothing about working before they get hooked on drugs. That's what I would like to see, that report, saying that they are working with treatment centers and stuff like that. So if you say it's gonna happen, I'll be looking forward to seeing how it's happening.
Yeah, we'll bring you back a report.
Thank you. Thank you.
Motion to accept agenda item number 3.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Thank you. I echo what Councilman Balls is saying. I would also like to see a statistic on, we've been spending some of this money on, is it Narcan?
Yep.
That we've been giving out over at the Saginaw Police Station. The amount of inventory that's been, and Chief, if you're able to help on this, the amount of inventory that's been able to go through, that's been picked up by the community. I mean, I know sometimes, I think I have like 3 or 4 packs of Narcan in my home alone, because I've had family members that have passed.
We have Narcan that was given to us by various organizations to go out at the police department. Anybody can walk into the police department and get it. You can also go into the Hoyt Library, where the city purchased a machine using some of this funding from the opioid fund, and they supply it with Narcan and test kits also for the drugs.
Yep, so fentanyl
As a
test kits for those. I'd like to see the return on that as if, it is being utilized by folks. I think that's a pretty easy data set
I'm sure
that we
that's
can
something that the machine is counting.
able to count,
as they're
yep.
given out.
Yeah, because I think getting that into the hands of folks that are, sadly in addiction, and hadn't been caught before, like Councilman Balls is concerned about, like that is a lifesaver to some folks. And then also the testing kits for fentanyl is also a lifesaver to them. So continuing to give that opportunity to folks in our community is a big deal. I would like that money to be spent on that alone until we can kind of figure out something close to what Councilman Balls is doing. But that's all I wanted to mention.
Yes.
And this is for the manager. Is it possible just to get data on what we have seen already, what we have expended, what the return on that is, as well as if there is a 2-year or 3-year plan from this committee, what the next steps are, and how I know we've done some training for opioid and treatment prevention, but just really from our standpoint or the committee, what the next 2 years will look like for us with these funds, if possible.
Yes.
That's all that matters. Thank you.
Any other questions? There's a motion on the floor to approve number 3.
Yep.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk.
Item number 4 is to approve the termination of the subrecipient agreement with World Outreach Campus for funding received under the American Rescue Plan Act. That was Councilmember Sylvia.
Thank you so very much. Really just a question, and if approving number 4, we still would be able to make the motion to be able to sit down with the World Outreach and the partners for discussion. Does that change that at all?
No.
Okay. Motion to approve number 4.
I need a second.
Second.
It's been second. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk,
Takes us to board, commission, and committee reports.
do we have any boards of commission reports? Hearing none. Madam Clerk.
On to ordinance introduction. The first one is to amend section 153.021 definitions and sections 153.226 principal permitted uses, 153.426 uses and parking standards, and by adding a new section titled short-term rentals, by adding sections 153.651 title, 153.652 purpose, 153.653 definitions, 153.654 short-term rental unit general provisions, 153.655 short-term rental unit license and fees, 153.656 short-term rental unit requirements, and 153.657 prohibited acts and penalties of Chapter 153 zoning code, Title 14, Land Usage of the City of Saginaw Code of Ordinances O-204.
I need a motion to introduce.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk.
The second is to amend section 151.003 definitions and 151.111 definitions of Chapter 151 Property Maintenance Code of Title 15 Land Usage of the City of Saginaw Code of Ordinances O-204.
I need a motion to introduce.
So moved.
It's been moved in second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Both these ordinances will be laid over under our charter provision. Madam Clerk.
Takes us to resolutions. We have one. It's the establishment of an emergency polling location for the August 6th, 2024 election.
I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. No discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk.
Takes us to miscellaneous business.
Do we have any miscellaneous, any other motions that need to be made? Yes, Councilman Ball.
Yeah, I'd like to let the council and the attorney know that I will not be working for come out, stay out, and changing hands as a employee. If I do anything with them, it'd be on a volunteer basis. And I have not received any funds from them for anything.
Point of information, has everything been settled? I'm sorry, I got some communications earlier today, this afternoon, but is that motion, especially given the facts that Councilman Balls just stated, able to be brought to the table to satisfaction of folks that had placed the motion on hold until there was satisfactory information?
I don't believe that that motion was satisfied from the last meeting. There was no partnership agreement that was supplied.
Not
and
to
that was
full?
the amendment.
Yep, okay, just asking the question. All right, thank you.
Any
Oh,
other questions?
well,
I think there actually was a partnership
Yeah.
agreement that was submitted today, and it was emailed to council. There's no concerns from Guidehouse as to eligibility of the program, so it'd be up to council to do that allocation.
oh, perfect, thank you.
I think Vicky sent that.
Later on, in like
Everybody's
4.
got it?
Yeah, I was getting a haircut, so I was
Oh.
just busy getting a haircut. So I'm gonna motion for that. I gotta find the motion, just,
You gonna motion what?
to approve. 1 second, let me find it here. Apologies for taking a moment. So the original motion that we had 2 weeks ago, but let me find it.
Well, while you looking for that, I just want to add, I just got this like at 4:40 something.
Yep.
So in terms of reading it, digesting it, I've not done it. I can only speak for me. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. From my understanding, the partnership agreement has not been satisfied by both parties.
Okay. Well,
How can you have a sign?
Point of information, is that true?
I think we need to table this
I would need
again.
more information. The agreement was sent, it was signed by 2 people with changing situations and come out, stay out listed. So I don't,
From my understanding, they were yet looking at it, so,
it was submitted to the manager's office
Okay.
today.
okay.
Yeah,
This evening?
recently.
What-
Yeah,
So they must
Earlier.
look at it.
So on the air of caution, I'll not motion at this time to give council additional time to look over the information. I know it came later on today. All right, that's all I have.
is there anything else? I need a motion, I'm sorry, Pastor. Council Goblin.
I just, I think we're kind of at a point where we can vote on that. Their partnership agreement was signed in June. The dates were June 4th and June 24th.
Right.
So from what the agreement that was provided to us today, it was June 4th and June 24th.
And then the report that we did receive, it did not have a spell out on what was gonna be done. Yes,
I
Councilwoman.
got the spell out of what was gonna be done, but what I don't understand is what are you saying about the dates?
So at this point, it's been almost a month that they've had the time to clarify that agreement. And being 2 weeks ago, we put it out clearly that we needed a detailed agreement. So the fact that they sent us that agreement that was signed in June should speak for what the details really are. So I can basically say I'm ready to vote on that. And so we just don't keep them coming back and forth.
I agree.
Somebody need to make a motion then.
I'm not,
If If you can vote now.
You can make the motion now.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we go along with the fiduciary and the changing situation and come out, stay out program since all the, everything that we asked for had been met. So I think that we ought to make a motion to approve it. I need a second.
Motion on the
Second.
floor. Been moved to second, discussion. Yes. Yes, Councilwoman.
Because we're not adhering to information, and I've gotten the information in regards to the collaborative piece or the, they said both parties signed the agreement, but I had information that the agreement needed to be looked at further. So that would actually change my vote if we don't wait. That's all I have
I
to
didn't hear
say.
the last part of what you said.
That would actually change my vote this evening if we don't wait. If we don't wait and make sure everything is correct, I
I
cannot,
want everybody to be,
I can't,
I want everybody to be happy and have all the knowledge that they need to have.
that's right.
There's a motion, yes.
I mean, I agree. I think we need to put it to an up or down vote because we've had Bishop Holden back here over and over and over again. We have people here who are begging us not to overlook them and ignore them. They deserve some sort of answer. I would make a motion to amend this to have all of the ARPA applicants in the workforce development portal vetted by Guidehouse so we could provide an answer to them as to why we were going outside of the portal.
If
We're not
we
outside.
go outside of the
They
portal.
didn't apply for the portal.
You need to chill it.
There needs to be a second before anything else happens.
I didn't hear you, Ms. Amy. What did you say?
There needs to be a second on that motion to amend before any other discussion occurs.
There needs to be a second to the motion that's on the floor. Can you repeat it, Madam Clerk?
Mayor Pro Tem, I didn't get the end of it. It's to have all ARPA applicants that are in the portal vetted by Guidehouse. What was after that?
Vetted by Guidehouse so we can provide them a fair and accurate answer as to why we have denied them and gone to an agency that did not apply for ARPA through the portal.
It's workforce.
Workforce, just workforce.
Y'all heard the motion. I
need
need
one
a
more.
second. Did I get a second?
I get a second so we can go into discussion, so I can get on the second. Second.
Okay, so we have a second. Discussion. Yes.
I'm trying to figure out, these decisions are to be made by the city council. Guidehouse doesn't tell us what to do. We're supposed to be able to go through it ourselves and look at those particular entities and say why. As a matter of fact, the subcommittee, if that's what they wanted to do, to go through those entities and find out why they did or did not consider those particular entities. Guidehouse doesn't dictate to us who we decide to pick or not pick. If that was the case, what is city council for?
Yes.
I'll just say that the motion isn't to allow Guidehouse to dictate to us what to do, but we have council members who claim that they have vetted all of the proposals that went through workforce development in the portal. There are between 13 and 20 of them, between what I found and what Mayor Moore found. We have members of those agencies here tonight asking us for consideration, and we are going to potentially move forward allocating money to someone who did not go through the same process. And I think that if we are going to do that, we should provide to them, everybody else who applied the right way, an answer as to why They were overlooked. Our colleagues are saying that they were vetted, that you looked through them yourselves. Okay. I'd like to know why, every single one. I want to know why Indaba, SVSU, the Saginaw Business Development Corporation, Delta College. I want to know why Partnership isn't good enough. I would like an answer, and I think they deserve an answer as to why they were overlooked or not chosen.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Partnership has already been given an answer on why they weren't considered, and that's been a communication that's been out since June 17th of this year. So that's one, and I showed you that in the hallway, right? So anyways, I get it, but my issue here is that these things are getting deeply personal. The communications that I had with folks after the last meeting had nothing to do with helping folks that are getting out of prison. It had a lot to do with this idea that Councilman Balls is going to benefit financially. And this is what I hear. You can shake your head around it. But for the mayor pro tem to say, we got to get people together that aren't hiring one of us to be part of it, or however you articulated it, it's deeply troublesome that folks are going to be this personal when it really comes down to not who has an animus against one or the other, but how many people are going to be helped by this amount of money. The other part of this, I want folks in the public to know that they've already known for some time. This come out, stay out has gone through a number of different identities or actualizations. One of them included women of color. And then women of color had taken a step back, focused more on their own stuff, who were in the portal when we originally proposed this. So you guys are just kind of twisting it to the point where now I'm not sure who's going to be hired to make the recommendations of all the 13 folks that haven't been considered, which I considered them myself as head guidehouse, the two heads that we met. I have not heard of these 13 folks. I'm on the workforce committee. Nobody on this dais has ever contacted me about their discoveries, and it just seems overly personal and troublesome at the best. And I think that's the worst of us when it comes to allocating these ARPA dollars. That's all I have.
There's a motion, yes.
Just so we're clear, it's, especially for me, it's not personal whatsoever. Again, Councilman Balls recused himself at the last meeting. This meeting, he clarified that he's not working with them in a financial or earning capacity. All of that could have been said prior to the first motion being made, which would have been more transparent at that time that the motion was made. So again, like I said, the last meeting, the presentation, how it has been brought forth, the hoops, everything else, this has nothing to do with how someone feels about Councilman Balls or anyone else. This has to do, interesting, this has to do with the presentation of it, and a little bit of maturity. But that's it, Mayor.
Yes.
Thank you, Councilman Williams, for expressing some of my thoughts. The person that should be hearing what I'm saying right now just walked out of the room. He referred to and used the word twisted. This is a great program that Pastor Holden has put together, but, and I've been there, I was there for the ribbon cutting, but twisted, he has twisted it to wrap somebody that went through the process just trying to get what he wants. I'm just going to say it. So there, at this point, because of the way it's been presented, thank you, Councilman Williams, again, I can't vote for it. If it would have been brought to us, changing situations, that process, it is the same damn program when you look at it. So why were they overlooked, but now they're being slid in, whether Councilman Balls recuses himself or not? Thank you, Pastor Tatum, for coming out and sharing your thought. People are watching. And Mayor Pro Tem is talking about these organizations that they could have funded for workforce. My God damn, it says right in the portal when you're looking at the sheet, just search for the word workforce development. You will find them. So I think I'm being misled here in trying to get my vote. It's just not going to happen. And that is all I have to say. Thank you. Which you missed.
My God. the justice bill.
Councilwoman.
Okay, let me make something clear, or someone make it clear to me. Changing solutions, that's not taking them out of consideration. I just wanted to make sure of that. Am I correct? Wrong, correct? Could somebody answer that, please? Today?
Correct.
Okay, okay.
Councilman Ball.
Probably who needed to answer it didn't answer it, but I'm good.
I think it's a good thing that we found somebody that has the same program that the bishop has. Like the councilman just said, he said they're the same situation. They're the same organization, they're doing the same thing. So why not have somebody else partnering with them that's willing to do the same thing? It's just that cut and dry. I mean, we was working with him, and then we found out you didn't want to work with him because you didn't have a portal. Then some other people said they didn't want to work with him because I was getting paid by them. I haven't got paid a dime. Don't need to get paid. I do this work anyway. I've been doing this for 37 years, mentoring here in the city of Saginaw. I'm going to continue to do it till the day I die. I'm going to mentor people in the city of Saginaw, especially people who have been downtrodden, lost jobs, parents been on drugs. I'm going to always help. That's what I do. So it don't matter. I don't have to get paid. But the thing is, now we got a situation with changing situation and Pastor Holden. They're doing the same thing. So why not work with them? We're trying to help our people out in the community. How else are we going to do it if we don't do it? You keep talking about it, and it is personal to some people, obviously, because they said, run around saying, I'm not going to vote for it because Councilman Ball is going to get paid and stuff like that. I think that's terrible for somebody to say something like that. It ain't no big deal. I don't have to get paid. I haven't got paid 37 years working in this community for organizations, big brothers and sisters, help organizations, nobody. I know what our children need, and they need mentors. They need people touring them through life to keep them off alcohol and drugs and to try to get them employed. We're going out to the prison, talking to these guys that got short time, trying to get them back in society. We're talking to the children while their parents are locked up. We're trying to put a situation together when they come out, it be harmonious. And that's all we're trying to do. And we found a good situation with two organizations that are doing the same thing. The pastor been doing it for a long time, and the other sister been doing it too. That's all I'm gonna say on it.
Councilman Copeland.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I'm thankful for Councilman Ball's statements because he knows when he called me, I was committed to this. But when the reality came out, when last week this week I got the changing situations proposal. And if we would have used a rubric for all of our proposals, that rubric would have not been approved. 81% was administrative costs. So after getting all this information, and I was very clear 2 weeks ago about the detailed partnership agreement, and that's what I'm standing on. I asked about a detailed partnership agreement, which was not provided. When I went through, I saw the same thing. Just legal information, which I understood, thankfully, but it didn't give me any details. It didn't give me the percentage of ownership. It basically said, hey, we're agreeing to this, we're both agreeing to this. But if I could say what is changing situations and all those doing, I can't actually say, because I still have women of color still on what they provided me as well. So I don't even have women of colors listed in this partnership agreement, if what I'm being provided has them on it. So as I started from the beginning, I said I was for this program, but as I said earlier, being principled, having this information, having our citizens come before us, I cannot vote yes on this.
Yes, Councilwoman. Mayor Pro Tem, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I would add that it is not personal at all. It is definitely, I think as a leader, we're supposed to not only care about being principled in our decisions, we should care about the appearance of impropriety and the way things look to people. This is the second time we've had a council member have to recuse themselves because of an allocation. The only reason why there was any talk about how that appeared was because we had a council member actively recusing themselves. So I have no issues with the programs. I'm still baffled and have not received an answer as to why Ms. Roby's, program was not looked at a year ago. I stand by, my request that if we're, going to go outside of the portal, we owe people answers. We owe people information and accurate information. We already have 400 people who submitted proposals or ideas. We know that the majority of them were not going to get funded. We knew the majority of people who got funded weren't going to receive what they asked. And we knew that with our capacity and our ability, none of them were going to get a letter, and all of them weren't going to get a letter saying, here's why, thanks for participating. So when we have people, we've identified people in the portal. We have people who are asking to speak with people on council so they can flesh out their ideas, and they're being rebuffed because we've decided, certain members have decided where these dollars are going. So I would, that's all I have.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor. I'm not gonna be here till 12 o'clock. It's the motion on the floor.
To amend. It's the one to amend.
It's a couple of motions on the floor, same thing. Same thing.
Want me to read it?
Yes, thank you.
So the motion to amend is to have all ARPA applicants that are in the portal for workforce development vetted by Guidehouse to provide fair and accurate answers as to why they weren't chosen.
That's the motion on the floor. My question is, where you gonna get the money to pay Guidehouse?
Like I said, it's an expense I don't wish to incur, but I also think that if we're going to do that, we owe people's answers.
It's a motion on the floor. Any more discussion?
Excuse, do we have support for that motion?
Yeah.
That's all.
Yes.
That's just opening a Pandora's box. Because if we do that for those other entities, 12, 13, 14, we are going to have to do it with over 300 more to let them also now know why they weren't chosen, for what particular reasons, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We can't do for 12 what we're not gonna do for the other 300 and some other people that did not get chosen this time in regards to ARPA funding. There's a lot of good proposals, but them being good doesn't mean anything if you are not willing to go through all of them and tell them all why they were not chosen.
Okay, it's a vote. We're calling for the vote. Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. I think that we should be responsible with the motions that we have. If we don't mean that we actually want to pass forward the motions, then we shouldn't be motioning them to discuss and spend 15 minutes talking about it when we know that there's a financial cost just to prove a point. We can prove points eloquently otherwise. And then separately, I can get up and relieve myself when somebody's speaking. I had another member, Councilman Williams, he got up and left when I made a motion one time. So come on, let's just be okay. You guys, with each other. It's getting deeply personal. I don't like it. The citizens don't like it. So that's all I'm gonna say.
It's a motion, yeah.
Go ahead. Call for the question.
I'm calling for the vote. All of those, can you read it again?
Under the amendment. it's
The
to have
amendment.
All ARPA applicants in the portal for workforce development vetted by Guidehouse to provide fair and accurate answers as to why they weren't chosen.
It's been moved to second. You've heard, everybody's heard the motion, right?
Correct.
Calling for the vote. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
Nay.
Roll call vote.
Councilmember Sylvia,
No.
Councilmember Williams.
No.
Councilmember Balls.
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Bench.
Yes.
Councilmember Ostache.
No.
Councilmember Garcia. No. Councilmember Flores.
No.
Councilmember Copeland.
No.
And Mayor Moore.
No.
You have 1 yes and 8 no. That motion is denied.
What's the original motion?
The original motion, Councilmember Balls, stop me if it's wrong, because it wasn't clear when you stated it. I'm going back to the original for come out, stay out. It's to allocate to the Saginaw Community Foundation for the benefit of and as fiduciary for TD Holden Jail and Prison Ministries Incorporated, the amount of $740,000 for eligible programming or capital expenses for the Come Out, Stay Out Workforce Development Program in partnership with Changing Situation.
I did make that motion, but I wanted to make sure that the councilwoman, make sure that she get everything clear before we make that vote. So I would think that maybe we need to table it until she get the information that she needs.
Second.
You mean to postpone, correct?
Yes.
We just went through this. I'm sorry. We just went through this in the very beginning.
That's fine and dandy.
We said we was gonna let it rest until we got information. And now we right back 30 minutes later.
She said she don't have the information she had.
Pardon me?
She said she don't have the information. That's that plain and simple. This-
Right.
Say what?
The votes are not even there, so don't bring them back again when we just heard more than the allotted to pass it already said that they were not supporting. So if we.
Have nobody, you haven't made a vote?
The discussion.
Hold on a minute. If we got a motion on the floor, you didn't ask for a discussion, and they discussing it. I mean, and I got a motion on the floor to table it so we can make sure that the council lady get all the information she want to know about the situation.
Then I called the vote.
Let's vote on that motion then.
There was a motion on the floor to postpone. I didn't get a second.
There was a second on the postpone, but Councilmember Ostache
I'm calling the vote
called
on the
vote.
postponement.
There needs to be a second on that.
Second.
Okay, call for the vote. Let's vote.
You have to take your vote on the call the vote.
Pardon me?
You have to take your vote, you're all in favor on the call the vote.
Yep, call the vote.
All in favor, call the vote, signify by aye. Aye. All those opposed? Now,
Yeah, you're calling the vote, so you don't call for discussion on this next one.
Right.
So that's to postpone until, it was moved by Councilmember Ball, seconded by Councilmember Flores, to postpone the motion until Councilmember Sylvia gets further information. Just have to take the vote on that notice.
okay, you heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Roll call vote.
Councilmember Sylvia.
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Nope.
Councilmember Balls.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bench.
Nope.
Councilmember Ostache.
Nay.
Councilmember Garcia.
Nay.
Councilmember Flores.
Yes.
Councilmember Copeland.
No.
And Mayor Moore.
No.
You have 3 yes and 6 no. That motion is denied. Now you're back to the main motion that I read, the come out, stay out from previous with the fiduciary as TD Holden. I can read the whole thing again if you need me to.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Everybody heard the main motion.
Do you want me to read it again, just for clarity?
Anybody need it read again?
Yes, please.
I'll read it. It's to allocate to the Saginaw Community Foundation for the benefit of and as fiduciary for TD Holden Jail and Prison Ministries Incorporated, the amount of $740,000 for eligible programming or capital expenses for the Come Out, Stay Out Workforce Development Program in partnership with Changing Situations.
No more discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Roll call vote.
Councilmember Sylvia.
No.
Councilmember Williams.
No.
Councilmember Balls.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bench.
No.
Councilmember Ostache.
Nay.
Councilmember Garcia. Nay. Councilmember Flores.
Yes.
Councilmember Copeland.
Nay.
And Mayor Moore.
Nay.
You have 2 yes and 7 no. That motion is denied.
Do we have any more motions?
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you. I motion to allocate, it was $65,000 to women of color for capital expenses from the ARPA Workforce Development.
Do we have a second? Do we have a second?
Second.
Did we get a second? Any discussion? Yes.
Can I just get some clarification on the motion, the money, workforce development? Is this the additional that they're asking for their roof or?
Correct.
And what was that for? I'm sorry.
Roof repairs.
Okay.
Capital expenses for folks that.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
I have a question. I thought that they said they
Yes.
had 2 bids, and there was a lower one for 54,000 or something.
No. Is Evelyn here?
She had 2 bids.
Okay, so the maximum amount, if we were to give a maximum amount to the organization for capital,
And they just used so much, then that's
do
it.
so much, then would they return it, or would it be more flexible if I amended it to capital or programming?
What was the motion?
It's to allocate $65,000 to women of colors in capital expenses from workforce development.
I think that gives you leeway, so I don't know what all their expenses are, but I think that's close. I think she said it was 58 or 61.
58 and
50
62 or something.
57 and 62, there's one in county, one out of county.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll spend it.
Yep, correct.
Yes.
I just need clarification, and this would be our 3rd or 4th allocation. This would be the 3rd to the same, to an organization in their bucket that we still have people waiting on responses from.
Yes.
Yes.
For me, I need the clarity on this 13. I keep hearing this 13 to 20. I've only received city staff reports from 2, and that was the one from them and Get Out, Stay Out. So.
This is the entire amount.
So
I get that, but now I'm thinking about the inequity. So we're giving money to an organization over and over every time they come, but we haven't heard, or we haven't gotten a city report from the other organizations that may qualify. That's my only thing. Like, I get the work that we're going to be is doing good, but we have supported them in a way to purchase a building, programming, some other things. But
give other people a
right
chance.
now, we still are getting people coming to us saying, but we've been waiting here for 3 years. And even if it comes before us, I still, again, will be at peace if I know that I have all the other evaluated organizations, proposals to say, okay, cool, I'm good with, I don't have no problem with women of colors, but I still would like to know how the other ones fare that we have. Mhm. And if they qualify. Oh, I'm
Mike,
sorry, I
excuse
can't-
me.
Sorry.
No sidebar conversations.
We can't hear.
Yes, Councilman Ball.
I don't understand how a person could want the last 13 or something out of somebody else's bucket, but you didn't get all the other ones from the other people's bucket when they did theirs. When they only gave money to certain organizations, you didn't ask for who got turned down out of those buckets. But all of a sudden, in this bucket, you did want who got turned down. I don't understand that. You didn't want it with the other people.
The thing is, that wasn't my, I'm gonna be 100% frank. It is July. My colleagues from the Youth Development Program, they've been giving us stuff since last year. This one particular bucket, we've had conversations for the past 3 months, and we've had these ARPA dollars for a couple of years. So at this point, we have heard tonight how us just giving things away and not checking, no checks and balances, not having our metrics, how we have gotten away from that. Councilman George Copeland is going to ask every single question from this point forward. So if anything else comes before him, I know that I've evaluated and I just didn't go off of the committee's report. I now have all the information I need, because in the beginning, I trust all of my colleagues, and we have seen where we are right now. So now I am going to question. I am going to ask. And we may not like it, but I'm going to ask. And I respect everything that everyone is doing. But my question is, I have no problem with women of colors. But the only thing I ask is, youth, they brought us 15 different proposals. This one, work development, we only got a no to one, and then a proposal who wasn't in the portal, and we did. I'm done with that. I just want to know, what do we have? And I don't want it. If you all bring it up, that's your bucket. So y'all do y'all thing.
So you want it for us?
And the same thing with us, because we still got $1 million in youth development. And trust and believe, I still got questions, because I got some organizations I want to be reviewed. But today, we're not on youth development, we're on workforce. And so that's why my questions are for workforce. When youth development brings their motions back before us, and we start having more questions about youth, I got my list, and I'm ready to ask those questions.
We just want to be consistent.
Absolutely. That's what I said this whole time, and that's why I have these questions.
Be consistent.
Yes, Council, Mayor Pro Tem.
The last time we were approached for this group, we were told that all they needed was $75,000. And then at the last request again, after we gave the $75,000, we were told that the inspection revealed these issues, and that was after the fact. So I mean, I have concerns just for those reasons alone, moving forward with the third allocation when other people have not been considered. I mean, we're getting down to the wire, and we have other people. And I think Councilman Copeland's request is fair, because again, we are taking workforce development money when we have other workforce development, requests that were specifically directed towards workforce development. And we had a lady here, $60,000 in capital improvements for her program, and she's just ignored, same amount of money. So, but I think we should call for the question.
No, sorry.
Councilman Flores.
Thank you, Mayor. Now that this motion to not include come out, stay out frees up $740,000, one, respectfully, Councilman Copeland, we have given money to the MAC and to women of color from workforce development successfully. It wasn't just one that was turned down. So that's an incorrect narrative.
Thank you for correcting me.
Yep. The second, I'm kind of going on the lead of my mayor pro temp of, we need somebody in the portal. All right, got somebody in the portal. Now we need to vet the other people that weren't in the portal that the workforce committee was guided on. We were in the meetings with Guidehouse. They have sufficient answers for why the folks, the 13 that I still do not know of, and I only know the number because you say it publicly. You've never emailed me any of these folks. You've never pointed them out to me, shared any information with me. Being on the workforce committee, I'm not sure why you're going around myself and Councilman Balls, but if you have any recommendations, and this is something I had to chase out from folks that are in the hallway, hey, get a hold of me, because I think there's two separate conversations going on here. We have a viable candidate who we've given money to, invested that into already. I've been to the grounds over on Davenport. Councilman Ossish has been there. We're trying to tie this up in terms of the amount of financial needs they have. When you disprove some things that have been said here on the dais, and then we have to retreat and defend yourselves, we'll take the time to do it. If the question remains the same, the answer is also going to remain the same. We're going to continue to give money to folks that have been not only vetted by Guidehouse, but have a proven track record of spending capital funds and being part of this community. It's getting deeply personal here.
Yes, Councilman Copeland.
And I hope people know, I don't take this personal, because this is just our job. But if everything has been vetted with Guidehouse, just as everything when youth development, when y'all vetted all y'all folks, we got a report of every person that y'all brought up in y'all conversation, and we got that report. if these other folks were vetted, I just want to see, just send me the information that we've been sending all the other time. Just send me that information and I'm good to go. But I just have all the information.
I just want to make a comment. I'm with the Youth for Development, and we just met last week, and we've been meeting regularly. I haven't heard about anybody other meetings, but we're meeting and we're trying to get things done correctly and making sure, and we're even waiting to find out how much ARPA dollars, so that's why, you know, we're still got some people that we're still looking at, and we're still vetting them, because it's been an ongoing process. Like I said, when I got on board, they were already picked organizations in which I was familiar with, but you gotta do your research. You can't just be giving people out money just because. We've got to know and make sure that they're in the portal, that they qualify. You know, we wanna give everybody a chance, not the same people keep giving them. I have people, that's coming to me and we're like, we need more money, but I'm like, at the end of the day, we wanna make sure that everybody's getting a fair share of this money, you know. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Yes, Councilwoman.
Everybody, whew, we've done I've done my best as looking at organizations in regards to ARPA. And I'm not being facetious at all, but this discussion can go on for several hours. It can go on for several days. But we've looked at organizations, we re-looked at organizations in regards to ARPA funding. We knew starting out that it would be difficult to say no to some organizations. That's why from this table, from me, you have heard over and over again, collaboration. There, in my opinion, in regards to looking at the final rules and looking at ARPA, and I hope this discussion we've had this discussion, but there shouldn't be an organization that wants $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, or entities that are doing some of the same work that should not be collaborating with other agencies. I've not seen a lot, and it's very disappointing to me, because these organizations should be collaborating. It just didn't happen. Several council people have talked about collaboration. I don't see it happening, because that would take care of a lot of other organizations. If you're doing a youth program for gun violence or, you know, what have you, why can't you go to, let's just say, CAC and collaborate with Mr. Coleman? It's a lot of breakdown. It's a lot of breakdown. People don't understand collaboration is what you need. It's other grants, other monies coming available. It's always money's available. If it's not from the city, it's from the state and federal government. You want to know what they look at? It's collaborative efforts. And if you don't have them, a lot of times you are not looked at.
Mr. Williams.
I think it's important for us moving forward that we don't make motions from the hip, and when council doesn't agree, then all of a sudden the rest of council's bad guys. That needs to stop. Let's make our motions good motions, research motions, and move from there. But just throwing motions out because someone came to the mic and asked, and then not allowing the rest of council to get the proper information that we need, and just expecting us to go along with it, just to either elevate yourself or make someone else look bad. Not cool. That's all, Mayor.
Councilman Walls.
I'd like to call for the question.
Second. It's been moved to second. This vote is on call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Now, what's the original?
It's to allocate $65,000 to women of colors and capital expenses from workforce development.
Everybody heard, right?
Yes.
It's been moved to, yes, Mr. Copeland.
No. You can't
Councilman
discuss,
Copeland.
Mayor. Called the question, you have to take the vote.
Okay, we're calling for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
We still have to take a roll call. Councilmember Sylvia?
No.
Councilmember Williams?
No.
Councilmember Balls?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Bench?
No.
Councilmember Ostache?
Nay.
Councilmember Garcia?
Nay.
Councilmember Flores?
No.
Councilmember Copeland?
Nay.
And Mayor Moore?
No.
You have 9 noes, that motion denied.
Do we have any more motions?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn, ma'am.
Third. Motion to adjourn. Second, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, good night, everybody.